Good evening and welcome to Close Up. The onset of cancer in our society is an imminent threat that warrants serious addressing. But for that to be fully realized, one needs to look into the world of patients living with this life-threatening illness to fully realize the harsh realities they go through. Close Up will take you on that challenging and emotional journey this evening.
He had a lot of bruises on his arms and legs, which never really went away, just like a normal, ordinary kid. So we brought him in. He was having those bruises for like a month or so, and before that he had them for years. So probably when he was around 1, he started getting those bruises. So we brought him over when he was 3 years old to the children's outpatient, and the doctor said we will run a few tests. He said it's just general tests, and it's really just basics. And he called us back in an hour. In fact, he told us to call us back in an hour, but it took a day or so. So we came the following day, and the doctor explained to us that his platelet count in his blood is low. His condition does not have a medication that he can immediately heal, or a medication that prevents it. So it's just us parents who have to look after him. Every day he plays, every day he runs, every day he goes out of the house, every day he comes out of the house with us, with parents. That threat is never gone. Every morning we wake up, we say to ourselves as parents that today might be the day, and then we leave it up to God, whatever He decides. If He wants him back at his house, then so be it. It will be a pain, but we'll just have to accept the harsh truth of life. People die. He will never be replaced. Actually, I don't have words to describe how I would feel if he's gone. How any one of our family members would feel if he's gone. He's not just a part of our life, he is our life actually. So we worry a lot about him, but then we want to give him as normal of a life as he can get. So we try to keep him so he is not that physical, he doesn't take any, but then again we want him to grow up as normal as possible.
For some diagnosed with cancer, this means looking for preferred treatment overseas, hoping this opportunity will give them a second chance at life.
Kiruyan da ndunga matakalila kiruyan asari dasar misa lakumena budina kitena cuma nikut ko sari belmbula mai sabu irlak cungaya kirsaba ko sar lambasa cakiru mo ndunga lambasa kirsaba ko sar mingui su kirsaba cunga je tulna madawa sangi madal mai nona Rizal ni kosa chikubuka na cancer. Ojinga kirsama ni bakomendo na room, ndamba kana room do protective mbulongo mera chikuba tambe kindonga kinirna ngonera to mate cancer. Kirsama chikiloma sange te kubuchiki kaneru kimo. Na varta kini mata ko lutra bale na ngona. Din ni kana chikuba levu. Yona ngona singdo na kena tumbo binaka ndo tunga. Na sonangono ndongito ndo laktumi uzuna nandra. Acharto ngemi vatarongya se eda bando lakumi bua o men tukuna kina na leng sangi tukuna ko yembeleta ni sata matsi kundono na kina kono bona mesana start kimo ko na kimo kiro start sarne ro kimo me bakame bi madawa bisingo kilulu ko me na kimo chukukino so bisingo kilulu e bina kisar ngone kimo kina so nangone dasar ni taroturu na singa na mulmulumu baca kaya nabi madawa. Saat sini rumah dawa walu, sanggih basing mendono bunyi Dr. Salvan, lagu misilan, lagu micek teko ya, sama itu guna apa mi, nak kata kami sana lagu misele, menali sele ngai balang, betan abu kuni macam apa, betan isabian dia cukup balai banana cancer, melak ngai misana li sele, meran misari radiation mikin. Sasadak juga kena kaba Ebola. Matakan iku akhirnya untuk masalah ketunga me betul tak me kemen bulan lalu bengu ge matakan iku salah me ora mikir sana mesin bila tan paspor.
mention cancer, and we won't miss Taikami's story, the Tongan girl who broke the hearts of many, having fought cancer till her last breath.
I think speaking from faith, the faith that we have, that we fall back on. There's a God that called us, and that's what keeps us going. And of course, of remembering the face of a child who kept saying to us that my face is a mess, but my spirit is strong. And for me as a mom, there are times I look at her and I say, "Tai, enough, no more operations." But she said, "The doctor hasn't found out what's wrong with me, Mom." And she also said that I'm going, but this might help other children. And to sit here today and then to raise that, talking about the strength, talking about, it's something that all of us, that there is something that we believe on, and that's something that we have to fall back on, is our faith. There are times that we have to accept. It's not easy, because when you're fighting cancer, you never know. There are a couple times that we hear from the doctor, 90% that I will be okay. But you know what? Every day that we look at her, we count it as a blessing. And for the parents, the day that you have with your child, hold them tight, because you never know what might happen tomorrow. And for those of you who have healthy kids, enjoy them. Enjoy that time. And count the children's time. They're a blessing from God. Because we're here today, we're gone tomorrow. But what we do every day to help a child, whether financially or just to tap them on the shoulder and say, "You'll be okay." And I think with the message for the parents, I can share it with how the message of Tai really touches me, because it contained in his song that the storm won't last too long. Walk on and walk strong, Mom and Dad. When everything seems wrong, you hold on and walk on.
I take some teardrops. We'll have to wait.
Inspired from Taikami's original composition Walk On, Walk Strong, WOW's Kids Foundation was established to look into the plight of these unfortunate little ones, having diagnosed with cancer at a very early age.
As you know, as a carer, it cannot be easy. Watching your child go through this, your family also, suffers. And as a parent, there's always a need to know more, the need to find out, where you're at with treatment, what kind of cancers your child or cancer your child is going through. The rigors of having to go through needles and chemo and, losing your hair, it's not easy. I mean, if it's not easy for an adult, can you imagine how it can affect a child, not only physically but psychologically, how it affects their parents. So Tai's dream was to have a resource center, place where parents and children could come away from all of that and just try and live as normal a life as possible, and just be themselves. Just come in and watch a movie or have a cup of tea and just sit down with other parents and have a laugh. People think that when you're going through cancer, there's very little to laugh about, but there's a lot. I mean, it's about relationships. It's about sharing that that moment with other people, and that's important. And those are memories. You make memories out of it.
Some might not hold out.
Welcome back. Cancer cuts across all ages, irrespective also of race, color, or creed. In this second segment, we will look at some touching narratives of some of Fiji's surviving cancer patients, believing in all they have to carry them through.
They didn't tell me that I have a cancer. As soon as they bring my result, when they brought my result, when they tell me to sit down, I just had a feeling I just had a feeling I have a cancer. So when they bring the result to me and they ask me that this is your result, they ask me to sit. When I sit down and they look at me and they said, this is your result. When you come for a clinic, your doctor will tell you what sort of sickness you got. And I just asked them, I said, do I have a cancer? Please just tell me, do I have a cancer? And they just tell me, we are very sorry. And when I told my son, when I came out from endoscopy theater, and when I told my son that I have a cancer, and my son said, no mom, your doctor didn't tell you that you got a cancer. And I said, no, I have a cancer. I have a cancer. I saw my result. I have a cancer. And I came home and I called my sisters and I tell my families. And when after next Tuesday I went to my doctor and he told me that that's what he told me. I have a tumor, cancer, 2nd grade. And what can I else do? And then I started I was losing hope. I was losing hope and I was thinking of my children. My son is going university and my daughter is schooling Form 6. And I had lose all hope. I was just believing in my God. I had problems in my operation and they called my son. My son was on the island. They tell my son to come and sign the papers that they said, we don't want to take the risk and we don't think your mother will survive. That's what they told my son. I had an internal bleeding. My blood was all coming on upwards and I was having too much medicine in my body. My body went very big. And after 7 days, when I recover, when I came to my sense, and when I wanted to hold my bed, I even couldn't hold my bed like this because my fingers and my body was so big, all swollen. So I just want to say one thing, that I recover. I believe very strong faith in Allah, and that was my fasting month, and I recover.
I came, I was sitting there, but with my sitting, we were waiting, I was praying. With my spiritual belief, I was praying, God, I'm here to be tested. Whatever is given, I will accept it. You know, with you, with God, nothing is impossible. If you give me this thing, yeah. I came, I was called, there was one of Dr. Bunwai Chosese's group, is someone doctor, came, and I was also familiar with them because they operated on my son in 2013. My son had a surgery and Dr. Chosese and his group operated on him. So I was comfortable with them when I came. He called Dr. Chosese and they saw it, yeah, and they tested it. They told me to come 1 week for the next Friday. My mind, my strength was, you know, and I was trying to concentrate with my family, with my 2 children, my 2 stepchildren, with my partner. Of course, definitely, I was uncomfortable with my life. It wasn't a normal family life, but I wasn't showing it to them. I think when it came, it was like them. I took what was, I heard what it meant, but it was like echo. It was kept echoing on my ears what he was saying. When they said, yeah, yes, they found I've got cancer, part of the cancer, you know. That was the time I just looked at my son, just looked up, speechless. I didn't know what to say, but I could only feel tears in my eyes. And the only thing I could say was, thank you, Lord. If I've got this sickness, no one else was going to help me. You. And I'm not going to die soon. Seeing my son still small. And whatever the doctor told me, I said, yes, I will do it. And I was trying not to cry that hard because my son was looking at me.
What went through your mind?
Everything was looking at mine. I don't want my son to be motherless. I don't want my son to be looked after by somebody else. Because I am a mother and a woman, and I gave birth to that little boy. And I will look after him. I will nurture him to be something. And I said, God, if you give it me, I know you have a plan. And I will do it. And I will fight this sickness and to be strong for my son that's standing in front of me. Because he was just staring at me and children, and he knows something is wrong. He didn't ask, he looked at me, he looked at the doctors, and he just looked down. But I was so thankful of the doctors with all their explanations. And I just said, so what's next? I just told Loban Waitrose, I said, what's next? And he said, we need to remove your breast. If it was less than 5 centimeters, that hardness, we were just going to scrape it. It's more than 5 centimeters, Keresi, we need to remove it. Okay, when will that be? And he said, oh, you need to, as soon as possible, but we'll give you 2 weeks. 2 weeks time. Sandon.
Like there is only 2 treatments available in Fiji, surgery and chemo for any cancer patient. So surgery is a first step. As soon as we come to know, doctors will try to do surgery and take out that place. And some of the patient, we just goes on to chemo. Some after surgery, then chemo starts. However, chemo is collective of some 4 or 5 or 3 very strong antibiotics. These antibiotics are very strong, and collectively we get it together, then we put it intravenous, it goes to people. And that medicine is very strong. That is also one of our concerns, because after the chemo, the person who has chemo should be isolated from family, because the chemo's effect in the toilet, when they go to, they flush it. If they do not flush 2 or 3 times, it can be still there. And someone who's going back after that can be affected with that chemo. And then the environment, with if the adult is having chemo and goes back to the kids straight away, kids can have some effect of it, because it's a very strong drug.
Is it appropriate to say that chemotherapy is a way of cleansing their body, of cleaning it?
Yeah, it's like killing the cells, the cancer cells. However, chemo's only one side effect is very strong. It doesn't kill only cancer cells, it kills good cells also. So this is where the counseling on their diet is very appropriate. What type of diet they have to take, how they have to take care, so that new cells which germinates, good cells come in.
Chances are they're on right now.
Once it is told, adult, some of them they take it, this challenge, some of them they still go into very negative, they try to go away from treatment and other things. But however, they come to a sense when counseling is done and other things, and they adapt to the thing and they go with it, and they know the pain threshold is high, they adapt to the pain and other things. However, for my little ones, since 2013, when I have been attached to these kids and we have been working together, I have seen these kids. It is not only the kids, it is the parents, the family members, the relatives and the community, all are under stress. Because while the child is going through, it's very hard for parents to see the child suffering with pain especially. And as I have said, chemo is a very strong drug. Imagine it going into our kids' body. And when parents see it, the hair falling, the kids going, you will see initially when kids come, they are healthy, beautiful looking kids. And after having this chemo for time, they lose weight and their hair loses, and the parents, because it's not a 1-day thing or 2 days, it's a continuous process.
It does have an effect.
Yes, and parents keep coming to the hospital with cycles to be done, and then preparing kids, parents have to psychologically prepare themselves also, because cannulating a kid itself, when you put an injection on the hand just to give the IV, it's a painful thing. And
It's almost like a mental challenge
yes,
that parents go through.
yes, and we see kids going through these procedures also. They cry so much. They go into pain. Sometimes they do not want to see anyone. They do not want to eat. And these are the big challenges, how we can feed these kids, how we can maintain them to be healthy while they're going through these processes.
Of course, the big question will always linger at the back of one's mind, whether one is a patient, a relative, or even a guardian, as to when will the body and the will succumb to this life-threatening illness, and whether one is ready to part with a loved one. A touching reality.
Iyo satu kun kira pikir na bunyuai mina soer na rawatira soer na la kuduruma na mbula soer na siang mbula yo sa masula kitunga bona kalo mingi na vivu kimena ko bandeng le begitu mena masula kitunga na mbula merani mbula.
I'm just hoping for that day that he does get sent overseas for treatment, but it becomes a priority. If my son is not that ill and he's chosen, we would probably pick someone else who deserves it more than he does. So it's been he's 5 years old. He was diagnosed in 2012. So since then he's been on monthly blood tests, and just this year the doctors gave him an open card and they said we won't do any more blood tests because he's pretty fine right now. So it's actually all God's will that he is doing pretty good, and we hope that it goes on like this.
You don't want, if there is a time that God says that's it. And I always like to share it with parents who say there is no more hope, the kids will go. And for me, when the time that God tried to say, you know, this is it, I always picture in my mind that that's the end of my strength, that I can continue to look after Dai. And it's like God is tapping me on the shoulder, you rest now, I'll take care of her. And it's not the doctors taking care of your child, and it's not your mom or your dad or your brother, it's God himself. And that's something that keeps us going, and there's a hope that one day we'll see them again. And I think that's the message for the parents.
Hang on right now.
For those living with cancer, the journey is all about having a beacon of hope, a haven of refuge, and a cornerstone from which they can draw some much needed courage from, the real motivation that keeps them going.
For every cancer, people who have a cancer, and I want to tell them, please look after yourself and don't be, like sometimes when people find out they have a cancer, they get angry on themselves. Oh, I want to do this, I want to die, I want to do this. Please, when God gives you any sickness, He also help that patient to recover.
Just sing them every day. They are my strength every day when I wake up. Even with me with the chemo, I am weak. Sometimes I am so weak that I can't even carry my baby. But with my strength, my willpower, I manage to carry. I just have to carry my baby. When they cry at night, I wake up in the night just to pet them, If they want to drink water, go and give them drink water. My body is weak. It's just my willpower that I have to do it because I know I am their mother. Whatever they want, I do it. Just seek them with their sickness, because I know if I'm gonna go, my treatment to them, no one else will take that love. My children, if another woman is gonna come and look after my children, without turning out like me, it won't be the same. And I'm so thankful. Sometimes I forget that I'm born, and then I realize people say, oh, okay, I'm born. But I am so thankful. I don't care whatever people said me with one breast ball, but I'm so thankful my children accepted who I am. They just looked at me. Yeah. And they're not scared. That was one thing. I was thinking is they were going to be scared of me, but they didn't. Yeah. Every day they are my strength, my willpower, everything.
Do you think your faith has also brought you this far?
Yes, my faith has brought me this far. I know it has tested me.
Chances are they're on right now.
And with my faith, with my strongness, this is where I am now. This is who I am now. I am still surviving.
It's a calling. It really is. I mean, it's not for everyone. There's a lot of sacrifice in it. There needs to be a lot of commitment, a lot of care, a lot of understanding, really. You know, being able to see things from other people's perspectives. And not everyone has that. And so for me, it's always been a calling and not a job.
And that was your close-up for this Sunday. We hope you have enjoyed the show. Until your next close-up next week, thank you for watching. Good evening.
It's about the size of the faith in your heart. There's hope. It doesn't cost a thing to smile. You don't have to pay to laugh. You better thank God for that. 'Cause there's hope. It doesn't cost a thing to smile. You don't have to pay to laugh. You better thank God for that.